So with that, I'd like you guys to put your hands together for Joe Michaels from Haptics.
Alan Smithson, everybody. I'm really glad the Haptics marketing team is here because I'm thinking we should change our slogan to Haptics. We gave Alan Smithson nightmares for weeks. Hi, everyone. So I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Haptics. And over the past 10 years, we have become the world leader in making virtual things feel real. So I'm super excited to be here at AWE today. Sometimes I like to reflect on how lucky we all are to get to do this. This is such a cool time and such a cool space. And I'm just really excited to be here, especially because I talk about haptics a lot. But this is a new topic for me. I have never had the opportunity to share this side of it, which is collaboration, multi-user haptics in the collaborative enterprise. Before I get going, if you want to follow me or Haptics on social media, there are some addresses some handles at the bottom of the screen. So I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that I spend hours a day thinking and talking about the benefits of VR in the enterprise. I mean, the benefits are many. I love to think about the cost savings you get. I love to think about the productivity gains you get when you bring VR to the enterprise. We're talking about a completely new 3D computing paradigm in 3D space that unlocks tons of new opportunity in so many areas. So I'm a believer in the benefits of VR in the enterprise. However, I think we all need to talk about a fact, which is that today, VR in the enterprise is very much a solo pursuit. We tend to work in VR, and when we do, we go in alone, and we work there alone. There is not a lot of collaboration in VR in the enterprise today, yet. Now, when we do enter virtual spaces where we're collaborating, I don't know if you do this, but I find myself doing a lot of waving. Hi everyone. Because we see things, they look great. We hear things, they sound great. We've got controllers controlling animated hands. You get a head, a torso sometimes. You almost never get legs, which is something that you hear about ad infinitum. But you're not really doing much more than waving when you collaborate in VR today. But if you want VR in the enterprise to be a simulation of the real world, maybe an improvement on the real world, let's reflect for just a second about what work in the real world involves. The thing that I want to point out today is it involves a lot of collaboration. Okay, working together with other people. And it's not just talking or typing. It's physical work that we are doing with one another. It's complementary skills alongside other people where you bring what you know how to do and others bring what they know how to do, and your work complements the other person's work. And that's how you are successful in physical, real-world work. So I believe that collaboration in the real world leads to a kind of virtuous circle, where the more my actions and behaviors and work impact someone else, the more theirs impacts me, the more we come to trust each other, work together better, and the whole organization has the potential to build empathy and responsibility and productivity and results. This is what's happening every day, all over the world, in so many industries when we work together in the physical world. Not so much yet in VR. Hi everyone, how's it going? That's kind of what you do today in collaborative VR. Now, let me take it in a slightly different direction. There have been companies working for years on tools for collaboration in the digital space, right? What's state-of-the-art collaboration today in a digital tool? Well, when you're editing a document, you can edit with other people. You can even see the location of their cursors, kind of cool. There's a state-of-the-art tool I've seen recently. It's like a digital whiteboard. You get a digital marker, you can draw the paper airplane, you get digital stickers, sticky notes. Pretty good. This is the biggest development in digital collaboration over the past few years. You can see one another when you work together. Amazing. But look what she's doing. Look what she's doing. She's waving. Hi. That's what we all do at the end of our calls. There's not much more we can do except look, talk, and type. Okay? So, what I think we need to admit is that collaboration in VR today and the digital space is 2D. It's flat, it's boring, it's low impact, okay? And so I want to share with you what I think is the secret to the future of improved collaboration in VR. Okay, the kind of collaboration that takes advantage of our physical skills and takes advantage of the environment to really bring out the potential of VR and collaboration. And that secret is touch, haptics. In VR, touch is haptics. It's the simulation of the feeling of working with someone else physically, okay? That's what will unlock the rest of the potential of collaboration in VR. So, at our company, Haptics, we've been working hard on this. We've been thinking a lot about it. We're working not just on the hardware, but also on the software side to really design it for collaboration. So as you can see in this picture, this is the upcoming Haptics Gloves G1. It is our next generation product. I'm going to enter into direct pitch mode for 5 seconds and say, if you're interested in Haptics Gloves G1, it is available for pre-order now at haptics.com. If you're interested, afterward, let anyone who's wearing something that says Haptics tell you about it. Okay, direct pitch mode ended. So what we're doing with the hardware to try to make it better suited to collaboration is improving the form factor, for example. We're making it lighter weight. We're making it simpler, sleeker. We're making it wireless, so it's more mobile. So on the hardware side, we're trying to design it so that you can move very easily and collaborate with other people. But on the software side, there's a ton of magic that we are working on to try to make it easier for developers to bring collaboration into a VR environment in the workplace. So in addition to our SDK, which has kind of Unreal Engine and Unity plugins and a lot of great tools, there are specific tools for collaboration that we are building into the next generation of our product. So what does this all mean? How does it look and work? Well, the idea is you can be standing with someone who's also in VR after you both put on headsets, and you can be standing in the same physical location, or you could be two colleagues on completely different sides of the world. And because you're wearing headsets and because you put on haptics gloves, here's what happens. You can touch and feel the designs, for example, that you're working on. You can pass them back and forth between colleagues. You can test them, try to understand how they work. And when you're training, you're building skills that need muscle memory. An instructor can show you physically how to do the thing you need to do. You're not just learning about it, you're learning from other people how to do it. This is the potential, real physical muscle memory that's built with other people, and you perform better in VR because you're physically collaborating. So we've been seeing this play out all over the world in enterprise customers, industrial customers, and government customers. They're doing training, they're doing design, and as the great Alan said a moment ago, they're controlling robot hands. But I want to show you that when you collaborate with someone, you can be standing next to them and collaborating, or you can be collaborating with someone on completely the other side of the world. But when you bring your hands and touch feedback into it, you get more productive, more capable, and you can realize better results. So let me give you a few use cases, because it's always interesting to hear how it's worked. So the first one is the US Army. And what I think is a great example of is how it can start, a project can start more on the individual side and grow and expand over time into collaboration. So the US Army funded our partners ECS and Mayo Clinic and Haptics to bring touch feedback into tactical combat casualty care. It's what Alan was talking about before, where a soldier can come in and learn how to perform emergency procedures on their injured colleagues. They're learning how to tie a tourniquet, or as you heard, use a needle to decompress a chest, that kind of thing. And they enter into it alone. This is something that the Army was very excited to try. How does touch feedback help someone alone in one of these environments? And it went very well. These soldiers really learn better with haptics. So then we moved into phase 2, where the stakes rose in some ways, and now you're trying to train a surgeon to do a procedure called an escharotomy, and this is pretty grim stuff. If you've been severely injured and burned, you need a surgeon to cut through the burned flesh. So doing a good job, the stakes are raised pretty high at this point. And so the US Army invested in collaboration. So they have not only the surgeon who's learning how to make the incision, but they have a teacher next to the surgeon who can join, if you want or not, to show you physically where that incision should be made, how it should be performed, and it increases the potential for great training. So this was how the US Army is incorporating collaborative haptics. Here is another great example. Now, you may not know the organization Y12. They're based in Tennessee, the team that we work with, and they handle some of the world's most dangerous materials. These are the folks who deal with nuclear materials and other things that can cause a big problem. I don't know if you're familiar with the term Glovebox, but it's the kind of apparatus that it protects a human from these dangerous materials. Training for it in a Glovebox, very important. So I want you to see what Y12 built, which is a virtual Glovebox. So you can physically wear haptics gloves and test what it's like to operate dangerous materials represented here by simple blocks. And not only can you individually do it, but you can practice how to pass the objects safely back and forth to the other people that are operating the glove box with grave potential consequences. Do your job well, it's a great job. Do your job poorly, danger. So this is Y12 relying on collaborative haptics to really improve the training they do. So Haptics wanted to develop something a little less serious to show off collaboration. So we built what we call the Team Blocks game. It's a tumbling blocks game. And in VR, now you can play it, pull a block, and play with someone else. And when you move it, someone else feels what you do. You can push the block into their hand, and you'll feel the block hitting their hand. It's pretty amazing to collaborate on a game like this. And I want to show you when we were demonstrating this for two people you may know. On the left is Charlie Fink, the great writer from Forbes. On the right is the terrific Sonia Haskins, who is in charge of programming for AWE. And what we observed when they were trying Team Blocks was thumb wrestling. So not only did they want to interact with the objects, they found themselves wanting to interact with each other. They were in a virtual space, and they were high-fiving and shaking hands and thumb wrestling. So it's amazing what happens when you bring people together in VR. Give them collaboration, give them haptics. So I'm excited to tell you that we brought the Team Blocks game here to AWE. It is in booth 105. A few times a day, we're going to shut everything down with our other demos, and we're going to show off this Team Blocks thing. We'd love to have you come to 105 and try this demo. Here's a QR code. You can book ahead, avoid the lines. It would be wonderful to see you there. Now, before I go, I want to share two more things. The first is that we've been working really hard with a cool and exciting partner, one of the world's largest home improvement retailers. And the team that we've worked with is their R&D team called Lowe's Innovation Labs. Now, this is a fantastic team to work with. Their charter is basically to imagine and test and try to accelerate technologies that could bring about the future of home improvement and home improvement retail. So the way it works is they rely on their in-house expertise and they partner with companies like Haptics to really test emerging tech. And they use the tech to understand what the customer expectations may be in the future, what home may be in the future, and what home improvement retail could be in the future. So here's an example of something cool they did that I really liked. They knew that for some customers, power tools they're intimidating. You're not going to start a chainsaw in store. So, well, some of you might. Others won't. So they created a sensor-equipped power tool and placed it in VR, and they tested how much easier it is for people to try tools in VR in store. Super cool experiment. I can't tell you too much about this. I wish I could. But you see a person operating in a kitchen. This is the experience that we and Lowe's Innovation Labs will be introducing tomorrow at our booth 105. And I would love for you to come try it. It is gives you a great sense of Lowe's Innovation Labs testing where the future might go in terms of consumer engagement with products like this. This is the first place in the world, unless you work at Haptics or Lowe's, where you can try this experience. We brought it here. Even though we'll be working and researching and testing it for months and months, this is the first and maybe the only, who knows, place where you can try this experience. So come check it out. We have combined forces with Lowe's Innovation Labs in booth 105. So book ahead, come do a demo. We would love to show you this experience. There will be Haptics demos, there will be the Lowe's demo. I think you're gonna love it, whatever you do. So let me just wrap up by sharing what I think is the future of collaboration, okay? Here's what's gonna happen over the next 5 years or so in the haptic space when it comes to collaboration. First of all, it is going to get faster. So one of our investors is Verizon Ventures. And Verizon and other companies like them are working super hard on their networks and their protocols and their technologies to enable faster speeds, more reliability. We are going to require this in order to realize the potential of collaboration. You can't do lag and latency when you're doing collaboration in VR. So all of this will improve over time, and it will make collaboration so much better. It's going to get easier. Today, the tools are early. Steve Ballmer, I used to work with some of the people in the room. I used to work at Microsoft, and Steve Ballmer loved to stand up there and go, developers, 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 developers. The software tools are everything. So these tools need to get better, and they will. And that will, as they mature, make collaboration more pervasive. It needs to get more cross-platform. Today, when collaboration happens, you are in your own world. You are in a walled garden. It's balkanized. Over time, we're going to find ways to make collaboration with haptics more cross-platform, so when you enter any space, you will just expect to be able to collaborate physically with other people. And finally, and the most exciting part for me, is it goes beyond the hands. You'll hear us talk, everyone at Haptics will talk your ear off about the hands. But our vision from the very beginning has been a full body system for immersion. And so over the next 5 years, I trust that we are going to move beyond the hands. If you think back to the images that I showed of all the work, were people just working with their hands, or were they oftentimes working with their bodies? That's what we're all going to be moving toward in the collaboration space. And I'm just so excited that Haptics is playing a meaningful role in this. And if you come work with us in some form or fashion, you can be part of this too. So with that, I want to say we've left some time for questions. Come visit us, booth 105, and thank you very much.
Awesome. Super fantastic. Do we have time for a question? Let's see. We're actually running a little bit behind. Does anybody have any questions? Quick.
I thought it was 5 minutes.
There's a mic right there.
Good.
Let's do it. And then we're going to get kicked off with the next one.
Okay.
Real quick, I do a ton of stuff with industrial web, digital twins. Really interested in haptic, but I'm also interested in giving something weight. So is there something going on there that you can talk about?
I'm so glad you asked that question because it touches on the thing I said at the very, very end, which is you have to know how to apply feedback to other parts of the body if you're going to simulate the feeling of weight. We've had customers say to us, yeah, there's some things that we can simulate when you're just twisting your wrist or touching something, but if I'm lifting something heavy and assembling it or something like that, if without weight, it doesn't quite get there. So Haptics has announced in little bits and pieces over the last few years some partnerships and developments that tell the story that we are working toward that very goal of simulating more than just what you can feel in your hands, simulating gross forces on other parts of your body, and you and I should probably talk after to go deeper.
And it's with a heavy weight. Thank you so much. Put your hands together with Joe. Joe.